a name that is well known on campus. It's Jim Wyant. He's honored tonight for contributions in track and cross country. Now, when I asked Jim about running, he stopped me before I even finished my question. He said, Ron, he said, I have no intention of running here. Just let me tell you that. And I said, well, why did you run? How did it happen? So he gets a smile on his face. I wasn't next to him, but I could hear that smile or feel that smile through the phone. And he says, well, let me tell you how it happened. He said, first week on campus, he says, I'm at a restaurant. I think it was Howard Johnson's. And he said, I'm eating and I get done and I'm walking out of the restaurant. He says, this man walks out of the darkness. Out of nowhere, I didn't even know he was there. He says, are you a freshman? And I looked and I said, yes. And he goes, are you a runner? And I looked and I said, no. And he goes, good, I'll see you at cross-country practice tomorrow. Who was that guy? Bill Sudik. Yeah, Coach Sudik. Sudik. Now, Jim says the next day he didn't go to cross-country practice. He says that night he got a call from Bill Sudik. He said, hey, you missed practice, kid. Well, he didn't miss again. He's a boy from northwestern Ohio. He had an interest in physics and engineering. He thought about the Massachusetts Institute of Technology when he was in high school, but he thought that was too long of a trip, too far away from his family. So he landed here at Case Western Reserve University, and we've all been blessed and continue to be blessed because of it. If you talk to Jim about running, he'll tell you that when he was here at Case, he'd wear socks on his hands and over his wrist, because when he would run, it would keep his hands warm in the winter. He'd run on icy sidewalks, and he'd try not to fall. I asked him about the track back then. I said, was it cinder? And he laughed. He said, yeah, it was horrible. It was cinder. He tried not to fall there either, so he wouldn't get cinder in his knees. I'm not sure that Jim Wyant, after researching him, talking to others about him, has really ever fallen doing anything in his life. Dr. Jim Wyant is one of the world's most renowned optical scientists. He's a great, legendary donor and friend here at Case Western Reserve University. And tonight, we can call him a Spartan Club Hall of Famer, Jim Wyant. Jim will be presented by Gary Pillar.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So, raise your hand if you knew Coach Sudik. Yeah. Wasn't he an incredible person? He really changed my life in so many ways. It was really fantastic. Well, the story he told about how I got on the track here is true. It was at Howard Johnson's, and Coach Sudik, I'll say, recruited me there. I think I was a young, skinny kid just off the farm, and he thought maybe I could run. He asked me if I ran in high school, and I said yes, but fortunately he didn't ask me for any details, because I grew up in a small town called Lyons, Ohio, Lyons, and northwestern part of the state. 511 people there, plus or minus a couple. And the school I went to, which is no longer in existence, it was closed a couple of years after I graduated. But the school had a baseball field, and it had a baseball team. It had a basketball team, and it had a basketball court, but it was a little small, shall we say. But it had a court. It did not have a football field or a football team because it didn't have enough players for that. And it did not have a track. And whether it had a track team or not is a little questionable, I would have to say. But my senior year, my physics teacher, but also had been my chemistry teacher, my biology teacher, the math teacher, driver's education teacher, and so on, decided he was going to coach track. He also cut hair on the side, too. So I thought, my physics teacher is coaching track, I better go out for track. And so what event should I run? I had no idea, but I always liked fours. I still love the number 4. So I thought, a quarter mile, a 4:40, all these fours, that must be it. I mean, this was in the days before you used metric for the track. So I decided I'd run the 4:40, quarter mile. And A few days later, the coach said, well, why don't we also have a mile relay? And, you know, I'd like to have you run on it. I said, okay, fine. I'll be glad to run on that. And then he, you know, a day or so later, so I'd like to have you run the anchor leg. Be the fourth one running there. Fourth leg. And I said, okay, that's fine too. And then I found out there was a little problem because the school had only 3 pairs of track shoes. And I was running the fourth leg. And, but I worked it out with Richard, who ran the first leg. And as soon as he finished, you know, he would take his shoes off and I would put them on. And I ran the fourth leg. And we had 3 track meets that year, and we actually did amazingly well, considering we had no idea what we were doing. So, but I figured, you know, that was the end of my track. When I came to Case, I had absolutely no idea that I would run track or cross country until Sudak convinced me I should do it. And that was fantastic. I have to say, well, first off, we actually had a track here. That was nice. It was cinders. And it was a fifth of a mile, but it was a track. And I actually had my own track shoes. And in fact, I had 2 pairs. I had one for cross country and one for track. So I really enjoyed it, you know. And when I think back at my days at Case, you know, I loved studying physics. I loved the academic work here. But what I really remember most would be the track and the cross country. It was just so much fun, and I think it did so much for me personally. And so, you know, I'm really sorry that Coach Sudak can't be here tonight. You know, if you were here, it'd be fantastic. But he was such a fantastic guy, and all of you who raised your hand, you know what I'm talking about. He was an absolutely